So, Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver. I watched it, and I have some thoughts. So let's talk about it. Hello, I'm Diamond, aka Lady Leo. Welcome to my channel if you're a brand new viewer, or welcome back if you are a returning viewer. So, Zack Snyder has finally dropped the second part of Rebel Moon, which I feel like it came out in December, maybe. It's been a minute. So we've gotten part two, and I did not really remember anything that happened in part one. Oh man, it's been a while. I remember not liking it at all and not really wanting to see this part, but you know, I didn't have anything else to watch on Saturday night, so I figured, what the hell? Let's give it a try. And it's just, man, I wish so many things about this. Like, I feel like I like Zack Snyder as a person, but and like with his movies, they're always kind of hit or miss for me. Sometimes they're miss, sometimes they're hit. Man of Steel is one of my favorite Zack Snyder movies, but when it's miss, I feel like it's because there's nobody around like editing him. You know what I mean? And this is like worst case scenario for nobody being around to edit him, because Netflix is just like giving him a blank check without any kind of studio oversight, which I feel like if this has taught you anything, Netflix, a little studio oversight is fine, right? Like, both are extremes. If you let a director do whatever they want, you give them as much money as they want, that may not necessarily be good. It depends on the director. But if you as a studio or network are over there like poking all the time, that's not good either. So like a happy medium would have been nice for this movie. Basically, what happens in this movie is like it's the conclusion. So we get to the fight, which really doesn't take place until like an hour into the movie. So we have our team of misfits. They come back to the moon of Velt. I didn't know it was a moon. I thought it was a planet. I don't know if that changes anything. It's just, Anthony Hopkins has this really long, he has this long monologue at the beginning, and it's, I swear to God, I started laughing because he was talking about a whole bunch of things and he was running off like a whole lot of names. And I'm just like, I don't know who any of these people are that he's talking about. So I was kind of like laughing because I'm just like, he was talking about something in the Rose of Court and something. And I was just like, did we learn about any of these characters? I don't know who any of these people are. I don't know. The monologue goes on for a few minutes before we pop back to our band of misfits coming into Velt, so they're there, and they think that he's not going to, what's his name? Noble, the bad guy that they thought they killed. Sorry, I should say this ahead of time. This is going to contain spoilers. If you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch my review. But if you do want to be spoiled, I highly recommend you watch it. So anyway, so they thought they killed Noble, but surprise, they didn't kill him at the end of the last movie, which they showed us immediately. So there's no shock in that to us. So that kind of begs the question, right? Like, if you didn't think Noble was alive, and I'm talking about like Cora and the band of misfits that she gets, why would any of them come back to Velt? Like, they were originally going back there to prepare for battle, right? But if the guy that they thought they killed was dead, and she makes it very clear at the beginning of the movie, she's like, well, they're not going to come here because it's against Mother World protocols to come here. So I'm just like, so why would any of them come back with you? They don't think there's a threat. So I would go home, right? No, they don't go home though. They all go to Velt. Very quickly, they find out that he's not dead. Noble's not dead. And they got 5 days before the motherland is coming there. Okay, so they got 5 days to train the villagers who all disappeared to somewhere else. But I guess they're going to come back. I mean, they're definitely going to come back. So, okay. Man, this movie sure does love like these long grain montage shots. It's just like, I mean, it's such a weird, I don't even know how to like explain it. Like, the movie is obsessed with grain because they have 5 days to get people who have probably never fired weapons ready to fight the motherland army, and they waste the first 2 days like legitimately harvesting the grain and feel like showing it to us in like real time. So I'm just like, I feel like you guys just wasted 2 whole days, because we don't even get into the training montage until like day 3. And I'm like, do y'all have time for this? You don't really have time for this, right? But I guess the movie has time for that. So after those grain shots, then we move on to the training. So before the training, there's a lot of things that happen. But I swear to God, the first half of the movie, as I was watching it, there was one character I genuinely did not remember. And out of the band of misfits, not including Cora and Nemesis, who is the woman with the knives, it was this other woman who has like a very short haircut. And I was like, who are you? Who are you? Were you in the first movie? Like, who are you? I swear I had no idea who she was. And as the movie went on, I was racking my brain trying to figure out who she was. And then there's this moment, like 35, 40 minutes in, right before they start the training montage, where they're all going around, literally sitting around the table, like giving you a very small synopsis of their background, which is something they really should have done in the first movie, but anyway, they're giving you like a small synopsis of their background. Oh, and I realized that's who she was. I was like, oh, she's part of the rebel army, because I had totally forgot that she was with Blood Axe. Is that his name? The guy who was played by Ray Smith, who died in the first movie. Yeah, she came with him, but he died. I totally forgot. Okay. And I feel like I'm still like so unclear as to why they even needed grain from this world to begin with, right? Like, they're coming here now because they know that Cora is here and she's supposed to be the person that slayed the king, which I'm going to get into that in a second. But why do they need grain from this world? Like, of all the worlds, who knows? I mean, Zack Snyder's not really interested in explaining like the overall world, right? Like, he explains the motherland very briefly, but like, because these are only 2 separate movies and they're only about 2.5 hours each, we don't really get an understanding of like the scope of the galaxy. How long does it take them to travel from different places? Why can they only get grain from this one world? You know what I mean? Like, to me, I'm like, okay, you're the motherland. Can you not go somewhere else, to the mother world, to get grain? Does it have to be from Velt? But, and considering the grain, the funny thing is that they literally spend, I kid you not, they spend 2 days harvesting the grain, and they put it all in a shed only when they start the training montage to move it to a different location. And I'm thinking to myself, why'd you make more work for yourself? Like, if you knew, General Titus, that you wanted them to put it like here, why did everybody put it here to begin with, just to move it here the very next day? So that happened. So there's also this scene that takes place pretty early on that I wrote down in my notes, because I just wrote down like a barrage of notes as I was going through. And the scene would be nice if you didn't think about it too much. So it's the scene with the village girl, which I don't even remember her name. I don't even know if they say her name, but it's the village girl. And this is like after they've been in the village for like a solid day and a half. And she literally starts going into this really nice monologue where she talks about each one of the band of misfits, and she gives them like a handmade tapestry. And again, this would be a nice moment if you didn't really start to think about it and like let the thoughts linger, but I'm not like that. So in my mind, I'm thinking they've been here for a day and a half. And it was shown that she was helping with the harvest. So A, when exactly did you have time to sit here and make a handmade tapestry for like 6 different people? Second of all, she has like a small speech to go with it as if she knows them after a day and a half. And I'm just like, okay. I feel like this scene would have played a lot better if it had taken place like the last night before the big battle, because they would have been there like 5 days. She could have had some time to make this. And I think it would have been a lot more impactful if this had happened like the day before the big battle. But instead it takes place before they even get into the training montage. So I'm just like, this is a nice scene without thinking about it too hard, but it's still in the wrong place. I just wanted to bring that up because I kept thinking, when did you have time to make that? They looked nice too. Like they were, it doesn't look like they have like, sorry, it doesn't seem like they have like a sewing machine in the village. So she hand sewed all of that, definitely. So that would have taken her probably more than a week, but definitely more than a day and a half, unless she spent like every waking moment on it. But okay, so there's that. What else have I forgotten to mention? Let me check my notes. I forgot about the robot, but I'm going to get to him in a second. So we get into the fight in like an hour into the movie. You know, I feel like the fights when it comes to Zack Snyder, sometimes they're okay, sometimes they're not. And in this movie, they use the slow-mo. They don't use it all the time, but the problem for me is like when they do use it, it's like every 30 to 60 seconds. So they either overuse it or they don't use it at all, and sometimes they do both, and I just pick a lane, you know what I mean? Like slow-mo is fine if it's not like every 30 to 60 seconds, but if it's every 30 to 60 seconds, just shoot the whole thing in slow-mo, right? So like for me, it's just annoying because I'm like, some of the fights I'm kind of enjoying, and then we go to slow-mo, and then the person will literally go just to move their hand, the slow-mo starts again, and then it's like slow-mo, slow-mo, slow-mo. It's just like, okay, so the fight it doesn't matter. They came there, I don't know, Korra has a dumb conversation with Noble about something, I don't know. And then you have the robot. I genuinely don't understand the point of the robot. So I've kind of forgot about him for a while because he just goes off screen to do but like in the first movie, we see him at the very beginning when the soldiers get there, and then he kind of runs off for the rest of the movie. And in this movie, he's like lingering. He's like watching them from above, but he doesn't even get involved in the final fight until like 30 minutes before. Like people are over here dying in this small village, and he's just like, the battle just started. It's not time for me to come in yet. When's a good time for you to come in and help, buddy? He's like, 30 minutes before, so in another 20 minutes. And that's what happens. He comes in 30 minutes to the end of the movie. He's finally like, you know what? It's time for me to help you now. Thanks. I mean, and the robot's voiced by Anthony Hopkins, so I'm just like, how much did that shit cost? But he's like genuinely useless most of the time. He's just standing there staring with a cape and a crown. You know what I forgot about? I forgot about the flashback. So I feel like the flashback that happens with Korra, which establishes like who killed the princess, spoiler, I mean this whole thing's a spoiler, it was Korra. Korra killed the princess, but the more surprising thing is that her father and a bunch of other people orchestrated the killing of the king and the queen at the same time. So like Korra always knew her father wanted her to kill the princess, but he and his minions, I don't know what they are, they all killed the king and the queen. And I'm so confused because I'm just like, why would he want to frame his own daughter for the murder of the royal family? And secondly, he managed to get like everybody in this room, including the people who are playing their instruments, which I guess are internet, because they play slow somber music when the king and the queen walk in, and then as soon as like it goes down and they kill everybody, they change to fast music. Sorry, I'm getting off topic, but like, why is everybody okay with this? Like, that to me was the most interesting thing, which they never address. They never address that flashback. They never address the father, why he framed his own daughter for murder, his adopted daughter for murder. So that doesn't make sense at all to me. And the movie's not at all interested in like resolving that. They're just resolving this one battle on this one moon, and that's kind of it, you know? So we get a nice legitimate, we get like a lightsaber duel at the end between like Korra and Noble, and yeah, that's okay. I mean, you gotta respect the dedication of people that are still literally willing to fight with each other as they are falling nearly vertically because the ship is falling, and they're still willing to like fight with each other as they're falling down. Respect the dedication. That's basically a lightsaber fight. And you know, that movie ends. People died, but Velt is okay. I don't know. I'm just so overall annoyed because I feel like if Netflix is going to sit here and give you a blank check, why can't you make a series? It's very clear that he wants to make more of these movies, but like, if I was Netflix, I'd be like, okay, you get a blank check for one season, especially if you want to make 6 movies, you can have one season of a show. Does that cost any less than how much money he's spending on all of this? And I think if he had given himself like 8 to 10 episodes, he could really flesh out the characters, the world, and maybe I would give a shit. But I don't care about anybody. I don't care about Cora or any of those other band of misfits that she got because I literally just met them. I met them when they went and picked them up from the last movie. I learned literally less than 60 seconds about them in this movie, and I still don't care. So, you know what I mean? I just feel like if he had been more invested in like building this non-Star Wars world, then I might care, but I don't give a fuck about any of this, about any of them. Robot. I mean, some of the stuff he did was cool, but like by the time he gets involved, I'm so annoyed I can't even like enjoy it because I'm just like, where the you 30 minutes ago, buddy? So it's not good. I didn't have a good time with this. Again, I really feel like there needs to be somebody editing Zack Snyder. You know what I mean? Like, to me, he almost strikes me as me sometimes. Like sometimes when I try to explain to somebody an idea, because my brain is moving faster than my mouth, what ends up happening is I only say like parts of my idea because I'm just like, well, this could be good. Oh, but you know what? This idea sounds good. But what if we did this? Okay, but like this. So like my brain is like pinballing and I'm only expressing like parts of my thoughts without finishing anything because I can't slow down enough to like process my whole vision, which is kind of what I feel like these movies are. These are like a collection of interesting ideas, but nothing is like finished. Like I just don't feel like Zack Snyder sat down and he's like, okay, so like how is this, what is the motivation for this? Why would he want to kill the king? You know, what is the world of Rebel Moon look like? You know, I just don't feel like any of that. We just have a collection of things where it's just like, this looks cool. This would be good. This would be interesting. This would be so cool. This would be super cool in slow-mo. Wouldn't it be cool if these looked like lightsabers? They're totally not, but they actually kind of are. Which is kind of what this whole thing feels like. And I'm just annoyed because I do think there's some interesting things in here. And the production quality is really good. So it's not like Netflix is sparing any money, but Netflix has no qualms canceling good shows that will never get this amount of like notoriety, right? Like for instance, The Brother's Son, they canceled that show, which was a really, really good show. But they put all their money into this. And in my mind, I'm just like, how are you making your money back from like giving Zack Snyder a blank check for something like this? You know what I mean? Like, yes, you make money from subscribers, but like this has to be like 50, 60, $100 million combined within these two parts. And I don't really think it was worth it to me. I mean, I think this would have been much better if you gave him like money to do like a 10-part miniseries because he wants to make more of these, but it's like, why don't you make these good first before we see if we can make more of them? But who knows how he pitched this to Netflix? I don't know. All I know is that these they're not good. They weren't good at all. They're not good together. I don't care about any of the characters in here. There were some points during the battle where I was super bored because I was just like, we getting to the end of this? Are we coming to the end? We still had like 40 minutes left when I was doing that. So, in the comments below, did you guys like it? Did you hate it? Let me know. I'm just so annoyed that Netflix is always canceling good shows, like giving them barely a season, but we got money for this shit. But yeah, whatever. I guess that's kind of how it works sometimes. All right. Well, those are my thoughts, guys. That's been my time. Catch you later.